Hey guys, good morning, everybody. Today is Thursday, July 7th. It's 6:23 right now. Market's going to open in about 7 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and set up this room real quick, then we'll get started with our session for today. To update a couple of things here. I wish there was a way to automate this, but it doesn't take too long. It's the same process every time. It's just setting up the room every morning is kind of tedious, but it's all good. So let me just finish setting this up real quick and then we should be good to go. All right. It's good. We get this link sent out to you guys here in the premium now. All right, solid. All right, guys, as people make their way into the room, I'm going to go ahead and mark up the areas of liquidity over here. Start off on the 1 hour, back up a little bit. All right. All right, cool. Morning, Kenny. Morning, Marlon. Morning, everybody. Today is July 7th, Thursday, 6:25 right now. Market's going to open in about 5 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and continue marking up the areas of liquidity here. And then we'll get started with our session for this morning. So market's been pretty tricky, guys, which was expected and anticipated, this whole week because it was a holiday week. For one, it was a holiday week. For two, it is NFP week. So it is a bit tricky. Some of our members who are in other groups told me that basically their groups have been losing a lot of trades because they're taking, way too many risky trades during these like irregular market conditions. So, I'm gonna try my best to give you guys, the best guidance and direction as possible. But if I'm like avoiding trades, that's for a reason, because the market is moving very irregular this week. So, sometimes less is better. So just keep that in mind, guys. But yeah, if you guys are just joining the room, I was just mentioning that some of our members here are in other like signal groups and stuff. And they've just been losing trades all week because the people calling the signals are calling trades that are just too risky. So just keep that in mind. Anyways, guys, it's 6:27 right now. Market's going to open in about 3 minutes. I'm going to wrap up these areas of liquidity right here, and then we'll get started with our analysis. So there we go. Got these all marked up right here. Morning, Albert. Morning, Akil. Morning, Jez. Morning, Victoria. Morning, Maria. Morning, Vince. Morning, Peter. Morning, Miles. Yeah, Maddie, I know, right? They just lost another one. It is what it is, though. But anyways, guys, back to the charts over here. Market's going to open in about 3 minutes. So as you can see, US30 is pretty bullish right now. Let's take a look at the retail sentiment to identify which direction retail traders are trading. It's currently 57% long right now. So we're still looking for sells overall. Looking over here at the fundamentals, they're currently up 199 points. So there's a disconnect right there because the fundamentals here are bullish while the retail sentiment is bearish. So price can really go either way. What we'll be looking for here is a shift in bias, right? If price starts to come back down, then the fundamentals are going to drop as well. And then from there, we can start looking for any possible entries to the downside. But currently right now, price is pushing up. I think this is a temporary push up. I think eventually it'll come back down. But right now it is still, pushing up. And Marco, morning. Morning, David. Morning, everybody. All right, guys. So it's 6:28 right now. Market's going to open shortly. As I mentioned, there's no overall bias, no overall strong bias. Currently, the short-term fundamental bias is bullish. Retail sentiment is bearish. And we'll confirm that when the market does open shortly. So we got 2 minutes still open. Here's the 15-minute chart over here that I've been kind of following a bit. Still bullish over here too. So I'll keep an eye on it. But market is going to open in about 30 seconds, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and put the requirements here for the breakout. So we got the requirements over for the breakout. And then we have the red flags over here. As you can see, it's really close to these sessions right here. Another thing that I need to, a quick question from Eduardo. Eduardo says, Sean, would you take the breakout either way? Depends. So you got to look out for these red flags here. This is what I want to point out. So depending on where price is going, possibly, but maybe, well, so if it comes down here and it reaches the sessions, probably not. If it goes up higher, maybe. And that's like a huge maybe because it's overextended. You can see price has been pushing up for so long that price may be due for reversal or retracement, right? So we'll follow it and I'll see how far is it going. One thing that I forgot to look at was news. So I'm not sure if we had news this morning. Thursday over here. We had news at 5:30. I'll come back and write this up later once the confirmation here is done for the breakout. I'll just, because we're not going to get the news price up here anyways. News price was way down here. So we'll see how this closes right here. If it's bullish, then possibly, but I wanted to pull back like pretty far down, right? So I wanted to kind of just pull back a bit so that we have some space here. Because if we have a 500 pip move and it's like within this range, then yeah, sure, it could be okay. But if it's pushing up too high, then it's a bit overextended. So right here, this is not the breakout. This is too big of a wick right there. In order for us to get a breakout for a buy, we're looking for a strong green candle, meaning a green candle that closes with little to no wick on the top side, right? So that's what we're looking for right here. If we do get it, I may take it with the trailing stop. If you guys remember the FTMO2, I've been using that. They have a trailing stop feature. So it's pretty cool how it follows the move. So actually that's something that I might try right here. If I do take the trade, it's gonna be like a trailing stop with 100 pips. So I could kind of guarantee the, and this candle here might be too big. So this might be the breakout here. The only problem with this candle here is that this candle here is pretty big. So I might wait for it to retrace a little bit before I hop in. Actually, this wick here is a little big. So this might be the breakout right here. Let me see. I'm not taking it yet though, guys. So just as I mentioned, I'm waiting for it to pull back because this candle here is kind of big. And then as it swings up, I may enter with a trailing stop. So I'll just have this stop follow it. And if it goes up at least 100 pips, I will at least break even before I take any loss. So I'm not taking the trade yet. But if it swings back up to entry over here, then I may enter it with a trailing stop so that when it pushes up at least 100 pips, my stop loss will stop to break even. And then if it pulls back, I get out break even. Or if it continues pushing, I'll just continue riding it. And this is exactly why I would have held, where I would have waited, right? As you can see, I would have lost the trade. This is why you have to be careful when you look at these red flags over here. Because if the candle is too big, you want to wait for that retracement. I know sometimes you'll miss the trade, but a lot of times it's better to be safe than sorry. So I'm not in this position right here, waiting for it to possibly come back up. If it doesn't come back up and it drops lower, then I'm definitely not going to be entering anything. Just gonna be a matter of patience here and just waiting for this to make its way back up. And if it doesn't, that's fine because the overall bias is for a sell anyways. Move this over here. So we're not in this position, guys. If you guys are just joining the room, just as I mentioned, our overall bias with regard to retail sentiment is to sell. Fundamentals are currently bullish, but this candle here was just too big. And this is exactly why you want to be patient and wait, because if you would have entered right there, you would have been stopped out, right? So hopefully a lot of you guys followed along and didn't take the trade just like I did. You know, as I mentioned before this session started, it's a really risky market to be trading. You guys got to be very careful with what you decide to take and what you decide to wait for. So no breakout today for me. Just a lot of uncertainty in the market. Just keep in mind that we are coming back from a long weekend. Also, it is NFP week. So NFP is tomorrow, I believe. Let me check the news real quick. Yeah, we have non-farm employment change tomorrow, unemployment rate, employment rate, etc. So let me just mark up the news for today. We had news today at 4:30, 5:30, 4:30, 5:30, and 7:30. And then we have Fed members speaking later today at 10. So 4:30, 5:30, 7:30. I don't know if we'll get back to that point. It's so far from it, but we mark up opening price, which would be right over here. And you can see price coming back up, right? Price just faked out basically. Price was, this candle here was too big, faked out, came back down, not swinging back up. That's why you guys don't want to get caught in these traps here. And I don't recommend you guys chase it back up because it might just come back down. It's another fake out. You just got to be aware of like the I guess you'd call these like the market traps that get set up by these market makers and institutions who really push price around. They're basically luring people into a direction. I feel like they're luring people into these buys here, and eventually they're going to drop right back down. So the thing to look out for and to continue focusing on is going to be the sentiment over here. So this number right here was, I think it was like 57%. Now it's 58 because people are chasing those buys, right? If I refresh this, let's see if it's increased. It's still 58. So when this number here increases, that will indicate to you that more retail traders are starting to chase the buy, right? That's what you guys want to pay attention to. If they're chasing the buy, then they're basically just pumping it up so that when there's enough buyers here, there's going to dump price back down to stop all of them out. But, you know, they have to let these people have some wins or have them have some sort of profit for them to continue buying. If you don't win anything, they're going to switch over to the sell side. So just pay attention to that. And that's kind of what I'm looking at over here as well. As price continues to push up, keep an eye out for the net long here. See if this increases. If this increases, then expect a drop to happen, you know, probably by the end of the session. So I've marked up news right here, 4:30, 5:30. We have another news event at 7:30. And that's it for the news today. Turn off this breakout, markup. So this right here would have been a V1. Not sure if anyone saw that. It closed like close to the, well, it was right before opening price. So there was a V1 right here. It's a double body. If you took that for 100 pips, obviously would have hit already. 100 pips right there. So there's a V1, also a V3. Neither one that I would take, because if you look at the requirements here, you need to have an overall bias. We don't have an overall bias right now. So for the V1 right here, confirm overall bias, we can't fill that. So there'd be no entry. But if there was an overall bias for a sell, that'd be a solid V1 to take. Same with the V3. But neither one is one that I would have taken. Yeah, exactly. Kill said I saw the V1, but it was at sessions. Yeah. This is the V1 that we were just discussing right here. So we got a double body rejection right there. You could have taken this for a short, but it was at the sessions and it was also at the opening price. So that was a V1 right there. You could have taken it full TP right away, but just too big of a risk of a trade. It didn't fit all the requirements. So it'd be an invalid V1 or a speculative V1 per se. Anyways, I'll keep drawing these areas of liquidity. This is actually a good thing that it keeps pushing up like this, because it's just building liquidity on the bottom side, right? When price comes back down, you guys can see all these areas here where price is likely to hit. So if price does make its way back down, liquidity, liquidity, more liquidity down here. It's a lot of liquidity that's getting built up. So it's going to take a pretty hard tumble later when it does come back down. I do think eventually it'll come back down, probably by tomorrow. So tomorrow they're going to be releasing the employment data, right? Employment data, unemployment rate, average hourly earnings, non-farm employment change, unemployment rate. So with this information coming out, you know, with us going into a recession, what's the obvious direction? It's not going to be good, right? So that's why I expect this to be pumped up. They're basically pumping it up until NFP. So price will just keep, well, I don't think all day today, but it's going to get pumped up a bit. And then by tomorrow, it's just going to dump right back down. So if you look on the higher time frames, like say the 15-minute over here, you can see that it's been being pumped up pretty much all week, right? So where did price start pushing up? Price started pushing up right here on the 5th, which was Tuesday. So Tuesday up until now, price has been pushing all the way up, right? Tomorrow's NFP. So with tomorrow being NFP, they're just basically, they're manipulating price. They're pushing it up because NFP is going to happen tomorrow. 5:30 tomorrow morning. Right here, right? So price will probably get propped up a bit. It'll probably just range for a bit for the remainder of the period here because it's pushed up too high. It's already pushed up above this high over here. So it might just range and consolidate for a while, like for the rest of the day. Like not a small range, but a big range. This is the 15-minute time frame. It'll probably range for a bit, and then by tomorrow it's going to come right back down. Because the unemployment data is not going to be good. I mean, the unemployment is rising, and a lot of places aren't hiring anymore because people are downsizing and whatnot for the recession. So just keep that in mind. It's like I always call it common sense, but I mean, obviously it's not common sense to everybody, right? It's something that you kind of have to think about and just think of the psychological aspect of the market. Typically, the market will give traders what they want to see, and then the people who get too greedy are the people who are going to get slaughtered after they stand for these buys and whatnot. So here we go. As price comes back down, it's another V1 right here. If you guys saw that, another V1, but we don't have an overall bias right now. This number here is starting to decrease a little bit. It looks like some of the retail traders have exited their longs. It was 58% earlier. Now it's 57. But there was another V1 entry right there. All right, you guys can see where price rejected from directly off opening price. So as you can see, it's not random where price comes down to and rejects. It's literally rejecting right off the opening price right here. So just be patient, guys. I know a lot of you guys are probably getting some FOMO here. You guys kind of want to catch the top. I see people do this all the time. They try to catch the top and they end up not catching the top because it just pulls back a bit and it continues pushing up higher. So I would hold off for a bit. I wouldn't just take a sell for no reason. If you guys want to take these V1s, I mean, you know, it's up to your own risk. If you want to take it with a smaller lot size just to get your feet wet, you can do that. But for me personally, I only take trades when I know for sure they're going to hit. So I only take like 1 or 2 trades a day, but they typically don't lose. So I'm being very cautious about the entries that I decide to take. So I'm waiting for that retracement candle right here, perfectly fine. And it looks like price is now entering a range. So it looks like the range is going to be between this high and this low right here. Let's see if price breaks this or if it continues to come back down and up right here. If it goes into range, that's a good thing because it's going to be preparing for a breakout, which is what we're actually looking for. We want price to slow down a bit because it's way too overextended. And then once it slows down a bit, we can have room for any possible sells that we want to take. So just pay attention to this high here. See if it gets broken. If it doesn't, then it's going to create, it's going to confirm the range. And if it breaks it, that's perfectly fine. It broke right there. Yeah, it did. So it's still not ranging yet. It's still pushing up a little bit, but it looks like it's starting to lose its steam. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to keep moving it up a bit higher. There's another V1 setting up right here. But, you know, again, like I said, guys, it's a bit of a risky move. So if you guys want to take these V1s, it's up to you. But just keep in mind that they are very risky. Just want to see how far is it. Like how far would the move need to be for it to hit or not. So no V1, price is still pushing up a little bit. Actually, there's probably still, I don't know, there's no V1, or there is a V1 there actually, still. Thinking about taking it, haven't taken it yet. Let's see where it goes. Maybe give it a few minutes or a few seconds for it to like kind of move around. If I do think it's gonna come back down, I'll let you guys know. Probably hop into it. Not yet. It's too risky right here. Let's see where it goes. See if I could take it right here. Oh man, it's already pushed below it. Pushed down too far. See, Jalon said NASDAQ 100 breakout looked a lot cleaner today. I'll probably take a look at it. If you guys take the V1 right there, nice. I missed it, unfortunately. Might want to I might catch this if it comes down a little lower. Tempted to like maybe take a, I'm gonna see how far it drops down from. So I might take a speculative here and try to. So I think it might drop down a little farther to here. So maybe I'll try to hop in. Let's see. There's only a V1 there. I was trying to see if there was a V3 to see if it would push down a little lower, but I don't know. It's too risky right here. But I do think price will probably come back down. I think it's going to come back down and retest the opening price below here. So if I could take a speculative sell here and probably catch something. Let's see. Right there. All right, cool. So I actually took a speculative sell, like I mentioned, because I mentioned it was going to come down to the opening price right here. I took it when I rejected off here, guys. It's not one that I could have told you guys about because I was just waiting for it to finish the rejection off here. So I took it when it came back up, retested this area, and I just caught it for 100 pips. So that's a little greed right there. I typically don't recommend you guys trade like that unless you guys know what you're doing. What happened was I missed this here. I fumbled into it, and I was just trying to cash like the rejection off this point, which is what I did. You guys can hear me. I was kind of analyzing out loud what I was looking for. I was trying to catch a speculative sell that would drop further because I was trying to measure this from this point. And I was like, okay, how far would it drop till where I'd be in danger? So I kind of drew up to here. And when it came back to retest off this area, I caught it for 100 pips, and then I just locked in a quick 100 pips. I only made 990 with some slippage on my FTMO, but I did lock in some profit right there. Nice. Yeah, Maddie said nice. We took the same entry. LOL. I seen that pending sell. That's kind of what I was looking at too, Maddie. So me and Maddie were looking at the same thing here. Like when price was coming down below here, I saw that pending sell that kept appearing right here, right? Typically, you can see these sell signals. They push for at least 100 pips, right? This one pushed for like 130 pips. So if you look at these sell signals, if you look at any of them, they push at least 100 pips. So it was enough space for me to come in and take my entry. So if you guys took the V1 here, great. I didn't catch that. I kind of FOMO'd into a trade down here. I typically try to advise you guys not to FOMO into a trade. It's okay if you guys know what you're doing. Like I knew what I was doing here because I already had an idea as to where price was going. My target price point was going to be the opening price right here. And then there's just a couple little things that I was looking at. So here's a couple things, and I'll just show you guys like what was going on in my head. basically what me and Maddie were looking at was, so you can see how this candle came down below this point, and I'll show you where I made my entry. So price closed below here, the pivots, right? As I mentioned, when price starts to shift, it'll use these pivots as areas to bounce off of, right? So like bounce off right there, right? Price comes down, bounces off that pivot. Price comes back down again right here, bounces off the pivot. So as price was below here, you can see this candle right here, that you can see that pending red signal, right? So we had that pending red signal that was coming up. What happened was when it came below and it came back to retest the green pivot over here, that's where I entered my sell. So this is a bit of a more advanced way of trading, but you can see right there, price came down, came back up. And as it came to this green line right here, I took my sell and I took it for a quick 100 pips. So I know a lot of you guys, or not a lot of you guys, but there's going to be some haters in here who are going to get mad and say that I didn't call this trade out. I can't call this trade. It happens too fast. You have to like know what you're looking for. Obviously, if it's a good entry and it's not as risky, I'd call it out. But for this right here, you have to know what you're looking at. So that's what I looked at. I looked for the retracement right here off the pivot. And then I enter the sell. I'll post my profits right now. It's not going to count towards any trade because there was no actual trade that came through. But I will give you guys the screenshot of my trade right there so that you guys can kind of look back at it if you guys do want to go back and review it, which, you know, it doesn't hurt to go back and review a trade if you want to really actually learn how to take these speculative trades and whatnot. Yeah, this market is a super tricky market right now. So you guys just have to be careful with what you guys decide to take. Even speculative trades, speculative and FOMO trades, you guys have to be very careful about what's on your plate. So let me just take a screenshot of my profits real quick. So my FTMO copier actually gave me my full profit. My copier is what gave me, or my main account gave me less. So here is my copier, and then here is my MFF. MFF gave me the same profit across all my accounts. They gave me 960. It's cool. All right, so right now there's not really much else for us to take. There's no V1s or anything that came up right there. I only post up what I locked in over here. Nice work, Sisuk. I just saw your profits here as well. There's my main account, copier, and then all my MFF accounts right there. Sanjeet's asking, hey, bro, I couldn't understand your last speculative trade. So you can't really understand it because you don't know what to look for. That's just what I was trying to explain to you guys right now. So let me see if I can find it again. I don't even remember where it was, Sanjeet. Here, give me 1 second. Let me just show you guys what I did. Okay, so here's my profits right here so far. There's my my main account. I locked in 990. Off this one, some slippage. It's okay. I was supposed to lock in 1,000 at least, but it gave me 990. Here's my FTMO copier. I locked in 1,090. That's my second account. My MFF over here, 960. My second one and my third one right there. So solid profit so far. You know, obviously across all my accounts. That's just for that trade that we took. So let me just give a little update here. Off that speculative sell live session. So Kill's asking me if the pivots are moving averages. They're a mix. They're like somewhat moving averages, but they're mixed with like other with another formula as well. I mean, they look like moving averages because they're lines, just like how moving averages are, but they're in conjunction with another tool that I use. I have to leave this. Sorry guys, my trading view is not working. I'm not trading view my Telegram. I don't know why Telegram does that. Lately, Telegram has been having issues where it keeps disconnecting. Fix this. Oh, the thing I just posted. Okay, there we go. Nice. Looks like some of you guys here caught that V3. Charles and Kwaku took the V3 right there. So solid move, guys. If you guys caught it, I didn't catch it. I think it would, I don't think the stop loss would have been close enough. Actually, it was perfect. Oh, no, it was too tight. It was 210 pips. It's supposed to be about 300 minimum. But I mean, it looks like you guys still caught it, so it's all good. Yeah, and I agree with you too, Tony. Stop loss was just too tight. I mean, it was close enough. Like I've mentioned to you guys, like if it's really close, you can always just extend it out a little bit. I personally don't like doing that because it just increases risk. But yeah, it doesn't fit all the requirements, so I wouldn't consider it valid. It would be considered speculative because it doesn't fit all the requirements. Yeah, it's too tight. It's 21. It's too close. So I wouldn't have taken it, but I'm glad that you guys still made profit off it for whoever took the V3 things, Kwaku and Charles. So yeah, let me just move this over real quick. And then we'll go over the other profits over here too as we continue along. So there's a couple more profits here that were posted. Tiana over here posted her profit. She locked in a total of 2,759 for the day. Nice work, Tiana. We got Harry over here. Harry locked in a total of 1,775. Nice work, Harry, on that. Kevin over here, currently up 6,230. Nice work, Kevin. And we got Mauricio over here, currently up 4,922. Great work, Mauricio. You've been killing it with gold lately. I'm about to play around with that as well. A lot of these strategies carry over other assets, guys. So if you guys want to try it on anything else, I mean, feel free. I'm probably going to try these variations and whatnot on gold. I've seen other people use it and it works well. Jay over here as well. Jay's currently up 1,265. Nice work, Jay. Solid moves right there. Charles over here as well, locked in a total of 420. Nice work, Charles. Your profits probably increase after that V3, right? And Jermaine said, bro, I saw the V1, took it, and when it was retracing, as soon as I click, it reverses and pops through. Maurice, will try to catch when it comes back down. 139, 639. Trying to see where he caught it from. Oh, it looks like he might have got in too late. Yeah, so Jermaine said, bro, I saw the V1, took it when I saw it retracing. As soon as I clicked, it reverses, popped. But I don't think this pulled back 300 pips though, right? Oh, you probably got it like way too late because it would have hit TP already by then, right? Yeah, you entered like way too late. So this is the one that Jermaine tried to take. He tried to take this V3 right here, or a V1. He entered like way too late. Like he probably entered when it already hit TP. So here's one thing, guys. If you guys see a trade going in a direction, like say, for example, you see a V1 right here. If it's already hit TP, don't enter it late. Like don't try to double dip into it if it's already hitting TP. If it hasn't hit TP yet, then you can go ahead and double dip into it because it hasn't hit its target. But if it's already hit TP, don't pull into it. So what happened here was Jermaine entered it when it was retracing. It already hit TP, so this trade was done with. He entered it when it was up here, and then unfortunately, as he entered it, it came all the way back up. So just keep that in mind, guys. If you guys are looking for any entries, applying any of the strategies, if it's hit TP already, just skip it, move on to the next one. It's just too risky to Well, I mean, it's not even too risky. It's just a dumb move. Like if you're going to hold on to something like that, because the trade's basically done with, right? So once it hits TP, just ignore it and then continue moving along. Because another trade's going to come along. That's not like the only trade that's going to come up for the rest of the day. That's why for me, I'm very selective. Like there's like, how many V1s did we see today? We saw one, two, three. There was like three back to back, right? I only took one of them. I could have taken all three, made, more profit, but I only waited for that one that I was really comfortable about. This one here, unfortunately, I entered it late, but when I did take it, it hit my TP, thankfully. So just keep that in mind, guys. Even I make mistakes myself too. But it's not a good habit. So like if you make a mistake, make sure to realize you made a mistake. Like today, I made a mistake when I took that speculative sell. That was a very risky sell that I probably shouldn't have taken, but it still worked out for me. So we can get lucky every so often. That's what I like to look at it as if you take a speculative trade, it's typically luck. Some skill, mostly luck, but you can only get lucky so many times until you hit a bad move. So just keep that in mind. Anyways, back to that question over Sanjik. You were asking about the speculative trade. I think it was this one right here, right? So let me just go back over here and just show you what I was looking at. What I was looking at when taking this trade here was we had a V1 here, right? So we had a V1 right here. Price was coming down. I was looking for it to come back, close below here, which was this candle. This candle closed below here, and this candle came up and rejected off the pivots, right? Pivots are considered areas where price bounces off of. So when price came up over here, this is where I took my sell. And then as it bounced back down, it just came down to hit my TP really quick, which is 100 pips. So from this point, this is my entry. It came down, hit my 100 pips, and it closed me out. After that point, it swung right back up. So that's where I took the speculative sell here. If you look back at the pivots, typically if you have a direction, so like for example over here, you can see how price comes up and it retraces. You can see where price comes in, bounces off these pivots, right? Bounces off the pivots right there, bounces off the pivots right here, and it just continues in the direction of the trade. So that's how I would take the speculative trade. But this probably isn't making sense to you because you're not sure what to look for. Like you're not sure what the direction is. The only reason I had a direction here for a sell is because we had a sell entry that was running. So that's why I took that trade in that direction. I know the trend here is bullish, but our overall bias with regard to retail sentiment is a sell. So I do expect price to come back down. Sentiment here is 57% long. So I was kind of okay with taking it as long as my stop loss was wide enough to survive the push. And here we go, as price starts to tumble its way back down to the bottom end. So here we go, as price makes its way past the opening price right here. There's actually a high-low entry right here. I'm not sure if you saw this, Maddie. I know you've been playing around with these high lows. There was a high-low entry right there, but it was right at opening price. There was two high-low entries. So this candle right here broke below. If you guys are familiar with the high-low strategy, this is the one that I've been applying on the 15-minute, but originally it was created for the 1 minute. So the high-low scalp came up right here, confirm overall bias, long-term bias is a sell. We confirm the high lows right here. Price broke and closed below this point. Momentum is coming down with the sell signal. You could have taken this for a sell. However, the red flag here would be that it's at opening price. So there's an entry here for the high-low scalp, but the areas where I avoid trades were right here. So this blue line right here is opening price. So red flags, when to avoid trades when price is near opening price. That's one of the red flags. The next one would be the sessions below here. So yeah, I wouldn't have taken either, Maddie, but I was just showing like, this would have been a solid entry if there was no red flags right there. All right, so it looks like price is starting to shift back down, which is a good thing. It's going in the direction that we anticipated. This is why I look at retail sentiment first. I don't really care about fundamentals too much. Fundamentals are like second in line, but you can see right here, the fundamentals are currently still very high. Let's take a look at the heat map real quick. Heat map is currently pretty mixed right now. It's not all green, but it's starting to weaken. So let's take a look at the stock index right here. Refresh this. All right, so the green stocks right here are starting to weaken. As you can see right here, these green stocks are starting to turn red. We have these red stocks right here. On top of that, we have Walgreens turning red, Merck & Co turning red, Walt Disney. Basically, all of these stocks right here, I expect them to turn red within the next hour or so, because they're not even up like a point. They're like barely up at all. So, um, yeah, for the most part, I see these turning red, even Dow right here. So if these all here turn red, it's gonna be half and half red, and then it'll probably go back to fundamentals down to like 0, and then from there it'll start to shift the other way. But you can see prices coming down. This is why I look for bias, guys. And this is why people say bias is king, because bias, if you can identify where bias is, you already know price is going to come down eventually. You know, eventually it's going to come down. It's just waiting for that perfect time. Or I wouldn't say perfect time, but proper time when to start looking for sells. So right here, now that price is below, and here's the liquidity getting hit. So if you guys remember from earlier this morning, I mentioned, okay, it's great that price is pushing up because it's creating liquidity, right? So look at all the liquidity here that got hit. It came pretty much down to where we were expecting. So we were expecting liquidity to get hit right here, liquidity to get hit right here, next area of liquidity, and farther down here. So I think all of this is going to get hit eventually, maybe by the end of today. But it's you know, it's just a risky time to enter because there's a lot of red flags here. We have news price, sessions, etc. At least you guys have basically a guideline to look at when trying to figure out where price is likely to get pushed to. Nice, nice. So Akil said took the liquidity push, hit TP. Nice work, Akil. And you're getting better, Akil, at identifying these trades here. But if you guys remember from my analysis this morning, we already anticipated this to happen. It was just a matter of when it was going to happen. So right here, let's see if price goes into a range or if it ends up pushing even lower. So as you can see the number over here, this number was 59% long. What do you think happened to those 4% that were long? They got stopped out because prices fell from that point, like over 1,000 pips. So unless your stop loss is like extremely wide, you're gonna get stopped out if you're taking buys. Yeah, Kurt said that the 3-minute is active. This would be the 3-minute right here. The only problem with this trade here is that it's right at the session, so it's a bit of a risky move right there, Kurt. I know a lot of people get mad when I call trades risky, but I call them risky for a reason. I'm not just telling you like, hey, it's risky. Like it's actually risky. That's why I'm telling you guys. You know, one thing that people need to understand is that there's always going to be risk in the market. It's never going to be 100%. So like you have to weigh your risk, your risks, like your risk management, whether it's, you know, how risky is it? Is it a 50% risk, 60% risk? I think right here is maybe like a 50-50 because price is starting to shift around. But actually, no, I think it's higher because price volatility here died down. So typically here the types that the market, the ways that the market moves, right? So like basically we have a bullish move here, consolidation, bullish move, consolidation, bearish move. What happens now? Consolidation, right? So basically you're waiting for price to consolidate a little bit and then it'll continue dropping. But right now it's just consolidating heavily. So if you want to wait for this consolidation range to finish, once it's done finishing, then you can probably cash that on its way back down. Maddie said 10-minute V3 hit nice. Yeah, I'm not sure if anyone saw that V3 right there, but there was one here on the 10-minute. Stop loss is too tight though. I think stop loss would have to be 500 pips for the 10-minute. So unfortunately, it was too tight off this one. But I mean, if you caught it, great. I see a lot of you guys here taking shortcuts today, which I don't recommend you guys do. But if you guys are hitting, you know, great. I'm glad that you guys are hitting. I just don't recommend it because you don't want to develop bad habits, like as I mentioned earlier. So just keep that in mind. Yeah, I know it would have been nice, Maddie, if it was like wide enough, or if I even saw it. Let's see, 15-minute here is still pushing. So if I see any entries here on the higher time frames, I'll let you guys know, but I don't see anything right now. It's just a lot of sideways movement right here. Here's Kurt's 3-minute daily, just hit full TP. Not sure if you took it, Kurt. I think you probably did because you were mentioning it. So the trade that Kurt was referring to right there was this 3-minute daily. Bias here was for a sell overall. He looked for entry after 6:30 a.m. Confirmed the first valid K2 momentum signal. It was this signal right here. He entered it, fixed TP stop loss, 500 pips, full TP. Nice. Yeah, Kurt said, damn right, I did smacked. Yeah, no, definitely. It's funny now that you say smacked a lot, Kurt, I always get you mixed up with Charles because Charles says that too. So when I see smacked, I'm not sure if it's you or Charles, but yeah, no, it did hit full TP right there. So great work, Kurt. I mean, you're getting a lot better. I know before you kind of seemed like a troll or you're like joking around a lot, but you're actually starting to get this. So that's good. Glad to see that you're actually getting and you're not just calling out random stuff. You're actually looking at strategies. So huge improvement, Kurt, from you over the past couple of weeks. Like you actually have direction now. You're not just calling like, hey, I'm taking a sell, but there's actually no actual entry, right? You're calling sells, but you're actually linking them to an actual strategy. So keep it up, Kurt. Just got to stay consistent with it and you should be fine. Kwaku said, are you looking for any position, Sean? I'm looking for anything here to come up, like here on the 1 minute, now that price has shifted to the downside. I'm looking for any variations. So like, for example, in order for us to get a variation here, we need to have an opposite signal, meaning we need a retracement signal, right? Since we're looking for sells here, I need a retracement signal to come up. And then as it makes its way down, we can take a variation. So I'm waiting for it to retrace up because we can't take any variations here unless we have a pending momentum, right? So for V1, confirm pending momentum. We can't take that because we don't have a pending momentum yet. V2, same thing, confirm pending momentum. V3, same thing, confirm pending momentum. So in order for us to take any of these variation trades, we need price to retrace up and we need an opposite signal. We currently have a sell signal right here. We need to get a buy signal that comes up over here that will confirm the retracement. And then after that, we can start looking for sells because then we'll have a pending signal in that direction. So I'm not currently looking at anything right now. Well, I mean, I am looking for something, but I don't have anything for me to take at the moment. I'm looking here on the 15-minute. If there's anything here, there's nothing here right now. Applying either of the high-low strategies. So I don't like keep these on the screen all the time because I don't want it to be like blocking anything. But basically, if I'm trading the 15, these are the strategies that I'm looking for right here. I'm looking for either of these two. For the 10-minute, I'm looking for a couple strategies here as well. I'm probably looking for the daily. So if we get a valid sell signal, this will be the daily entry. I'm also looking for a possible V3. Here, I'll just put the strategies here that I typically look for so that you guys have an idea of like what I'm looking for on these time frames. So on the 15-minute, I'm usually looking for high-low entries. For the 10-minute, I'm looking for the daily US30, snipe, and V3. I don't typically trade on the 5 or 3 anymore as much. I mean, I still trade sometimes, but not so often. But on the 5-minute, I'm typically looking for V3s over here as well. So these are the strategies that I look for on these time frames. I don't typically trade on the 3-minute anymore. This time frame is good during certain market conditions, like when the market's moving kind of slow but not too slow, and kind of fast but not too fast. This is like the middle ground between the 1 minute and the 5-minute. If the market's moving smooth, then you can go between the 5 and 1. But typically when the market's moving kind of weird, 3 minutes okay. But I don't really use it right now because the market is moving somewhat okay with regard to volatility. So hopefully this helps you guys out a bit when you guys are looking for, or you guys are trying to follow along with what strategies I'm applying. I'm applying the high-low strategies for the 15, daily, snipe, and V3 on the 10, 5-minute, basically the V3 most of the time. And then for the 1 minute, I'm applying I apply everything on the 1 minute. V1, V2, V3. breakout, but that's already happened this morning. So this only happens in the morning. You guys can see there's a lot of strategies here that you guys can apply. There's a lot of entries that you guys can look for. High-low scalp sometimes if it's available. Triple confluence. So these are the main ones that I look at. Sometimes the pivot scalp, but I typically want to look for the triple confluence. So as you can see here, these are all the strategies that I typically apply in the 1 minute. Let me see what else here. The breakout, obviously, every morning. But other than that, sometimes a pivot scalp, not very often, but sometimes a pivot scalp. So these are all the strategies that I'm looking for. If you guys are curious, V1, V2, V3, pivot scalp, sometimes not very often. Triple confluence, this trade, I don't think I've ever lost a trade applying this strategy. This comes up like once every couple of days or like once a day. But if you do find this one, it typically is going to hit. It almost always hits. It's basically 3 strategies in one. And all the strategies we apply have a high win rate. So think about putting 3 super strategies together. I mean, putting 3 strategies together into one super strategy. So I've never lost a trade when I've taken this one before. It comes up not too often, but when it does, it's pretty hard to mess up. So yeah, these are the strategies that I'm applying here. So if you guys are wondering, if you guys want to go back and rewatch the live session later, you guys can mark down the requirements, but I don't want to keep my screen all messy over here. See if there's anything else that I'm missing. So let me scroll up real quick. Just want to make sure there's nothing that I'm missing here. Kill said, Sean, was that a wick rejection for a buy? Are you talking about this one right here, Akil, on the 1 minute? Sorry, Akil, I've lost track of like what you were asking. You asked it about 5 minutes ago. I'm assuming you're talking about this here, right? But looking over here, I don't see a wick rejection for a buy here at all. So depending on which one you're referring to, if you're referring to on the 9th, oh, 9th minute. Okay, this right here. So no, are you talking about this red candle right here? Yeah, so there's no, I mean, I personally don't see any wick rejection. I'm not sure which one are you referring to. Which rejection are you looking at? Are you looking at, because the low is over here. So I didn't even touch the low. This created a new low right here. Yeah, I don't see any other areas of it. And I think you might be confused because you might think this right here was the wick rejection, but this was actually the low for that candle. I know I would have gotten confused too. But so if you're talking about that right there, I know you're kind of referring to this 15-minute strategy, but in order to have that, you need to have the trend, right? The trend needs to be bullish. So for this 1 minute right here, you would need a, like the trend meter here would have to be green. So no, even if it did reject off this low right here, it would not be an entry because the trend meter is red. So the bias has shifted. Not the retail sentiment bias, but the trend bias. Yeah, Charles said it was a V3 buy though, or a V1 buy. I mean, it was both. So there's actually a V1 right there and also a V3. It's like what Charles mentioned. Not one that I would take because I'm looking for sells here, but if you did take it, still would have been a full TP with no drawdown. Right there. All right, so let's see if we could find something here. There is another V1 that's coming up right here. Not one that I would personally take myself because as I mentioned, I'm looking for a sell here. My bias is just overall sell at the moment. But there is a possible V1 right here. Not one that I'm looking to take, but it's marking up for you guys right there. Let's take a look at retail sentiment again. So retail sentiment is now at 58% long. So it looks like more buyers are getting stacked into the market again. It went from 59% to 56, now 58. So it looks like a lot of people here are trying to buy the dip, which I wouldn't do. I think price is going to continue dropping. Looking over here at the fundamentals are currently still up 156 points. It's starting to drop though. So we'll see where that goes. Yeah, Maddie said they got stopped down, hot back into the buy again. Yeah, I know, Maddie. It does. It sounds exactly like that, right? Check this real quick. Yeah, exactly, Maddie. Yeah, no. So guys, let me see what I'm looking at here. So guys, just be careful with what positions you guys are taking. My bias is still a sell. So if I see a sell entry here, then I'll probably take it. But if not, then I'm just going to hold off. I'm not going to take any buys here in the opposite direction. You can see prices hitting liquidity right here. It hasn't hit it yet, but if it breaks through, it's going to hit liquidity. However, there's a session right there. So you can see where price is rejecting directly off. It's rejecting directly off this purple line, which is the session, right? So you just want to be careful. It's hitting liquidity right there. I wouldn't be surprised if it pushed down lower, but it's not a risk that I'd be looking to take because it's right at the sessions. So you guys just got to be really smart about these moves here. Kwaku said this is a unique style of scalping compared to what I've tried in the past, but loving the variation so far. Yeah, you know, they're fun to apply if you like. So I know right now it's kind of tricky because there's no overall bias. There you go with the variate with the liquidity that I just marked up, guys. It hit its full TP. But yeah, Kwaku, it's fun when like you have a bias. So I know you're kind of new here, like you've only joined like, I mean, a week or 2 weeks ago. But when you have an overall bias, like say for example, the sentiment here is say 60% long. So it shows that there's 60% of retail traders who are buying. We're going to do the opposite and sell. If that's indicating a sell plus the fundamentals here are like 100 points in the red, then you're going to have like a field day scalping because you can take any sell, like any sell scalp, and it's almost guaranteed. No, I wouldn't say guaranteed. It's very likely that it's going to hit. Like you can, as long as your stop loss is wide enough, it's going to bounce around and eventually it'll just come down and hit when it makes its way back in the direction of the bias. That's why typically that's when I make most of my money. Like right now, I'll take like 1 or 2 trades. Like for today, you guys saw my profits. I only took 1 trade, but when the bias is really strong, I'll take like maybe 2 or 3 trades, 4 or 5 trades. So like I think the last time that happened was like last week, right? So like last week right here, right? I took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 trades. So we're basically fishing. We're fishing for these good entries. If the market's not so good, we'll take like 1 or 2 trades. But when the market's really good and it's really biased in one direction, you can stack up your trades and make a lot more. So yeah, I mean, you haven't even seen the best part yet, Kwaku. You're like you joined when like the market was kind of like all over the place. But when the market starts to move directional and you have like a clear direction with regard to bias, you're gonna like love it even more because it's gonna be so easy to make profits. It's just understanding when to avoid trades. Like for right now, I'm avoiding trades because we're in the middle of these red flags right here. It really is like fishing, right? You're just waiting for those perfect entries to come up, and then when the market gives you what you're looking for, you can really capitalize on all those the entries to hop into. I feel like that's what a lot of people don't teach people. Like if you join other groups, I see a lot, well, just from like other people who joined K2 from other groups, a lot of people say that a lot of these groups will teach you how to find entries, but they don't really teach you when to stay out of the market, right? And I think that's really key because what happens is you'll know when to take entries, but then won't know when to stop. Like if you have a loss, you're just going to keep taking trades and revenge trading until you basically blow your account. So the way I teach you guys is like it's kind of opposite. We're not taking too many trades. We're taking quality trades, and then we're waiting for the market to kind of smoothen out, and then we'll take more from there. Like for example, here, There is no sell entries here, right? The reason why there's no sell entries is because we have no pending sell momentum. So for the past 32 minutes, we couldn't take any entries here, even if you wanted to, because there's no pending momentum. Like for the V1s, like as I mentioned, there's no pending momentum. In order for us to take any of these variations, we need a pending momentum. So until we get that retracement, then we can start looking for trades. But right now we don't have that. So it's just a matter of time until we do get that at some point. So Kurt did mention this daily entry right here. I'm not going to take it yet, guys. Typically, I don't like taking the daily anymore because it eats up at my margin. Like if I take the daily, I can't scalp unless I take a really small lot size. So we do have the daily here for a sell. What I do when we get the daily here is I look for other sells within it. So I'll use this as a marker for me to identify, okay, price is probably going to drop further. And it's going to have to drop this far to hit its TP. So right here on the 1 minute, I'm looking for something to provide a sell entry. So right here, we actually have a V1, but the problem with this is that it's so close to the news price right here. So just keep up the red flags. But we do have the retracement signal, so that's a good thing. So we have the retracement signal here. Now we can possibly start looking for variations back to the downside. The only problem is that it's so close to the news price right here that you want to be careful about that. So depending on where you get your entry, you want to be careful because the big red flag area is going to be this this news price right here. I think it's too close. This would be a V1 right here, but it might be too close. So there's a V1 right there. It's just too close to this news price. Typically, you want to have enough space because you got to cover the spread. Spread right now is 110 pips. So you want to be at least like 200 pips away from the news price. It's too close. It's only 50 pips. You can't even cover spread. So in order for you to take this trade here or to take it safely, in order for it to not be a red flag, you need it to be at least like 200 pips away. So the entry would have to be somewhere up here. That's where you want the entry, a bit higher. It's just too close. So if that doesn't make sense to you guys, basically what I'm referring to here is the spread. The spread is 110 pips. So if you enter a trade here, you would have to cover the spread. So here's the thing that people get confused with. A lot of people think they're only going for 100 pips. You're really going for 220 pips or 210 pips because you got to cover the spread and then you're going for your profit. So this is your profit right here, and then this is the spread. So you got to actually go for this entire move, not just this 100 pips right here. You got to cover the spread too. So just keep that in mind. I feel like a lot of people overlook that, the fact that there is a spread. And that's typically what gets people caught in a trade. Because you'll see sometimes like your TP would be, let me show you guys. So this is what happens sometimes. Say you're in an entry and then price is like down here, right? And it still hasn't closed you out of your position. That's because you haven't covered the spread. So realistically, if your TP is right there, your real TP is actually, like in order for you to pull out with profit, you have to push down even further, down to this point. Because this is your profit and then this is your spread. So just FYI, guys, I feel like a lot of people don't realize that. And that's why people get confused and they get mad. I see a lot of people blame the broker. Like they get mad. They're like, oh, my broker's not closing me out. It's because your spread's too high. You have to cover the spread before you make any profit. And I feel like that's another thing that people don't understand or don't know, that you have to cover the spread going in and coming out as well, depending on where your entry is. All right, so we're letting price retrace up a little bit. There is no entry here yet. Here's a 10-minute Daily, it's still currently running. 5 minutes, okay. 15-minute, nothing there yet. All right. So there was no entry off this candle right here. Let's see if we get a V1 that comes up over here for a double wick rejection. Let's see. Eduardo said first day of 50K FTMO challenge, made 445 today. Thank you as always, Sean. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Definitely, Eduardo. So that's great. You know, keep it up, stay consistent. Like, it doesn't matter how much profit you guys make. What I like you guys to focus on is just being net positive each day, right? Try to close out each trading day in the green. Because if you close out like a couple $100 a day, you know, that will add up. By the end of the month, you'll have enough to pass your challenge or to pass your verification, or if you're funded, to make a pretty decent payout at the end of the month. So I feel like that's a lot of people don't look at the bigger picture. You have to look at the long-term picture of things when you're trading in general, whether it's a funded account, whether it's your personal account, whether it's demo, right? You guys can trade. It's all about building the proper consistency and discipline. Because yeah, sure, you could have a great week or a great month, but how long can you keep that going? I see a lot of people do well for like 1 week, and then next week they just go through a downward spiral because they get greedy and they start to revenge trade and overtrade. Yeah, Charles, there's basically a high-low rejection right here. This is the strategy that we were looking at on the 15-minute. It's kind of close to this area though, this session. So I still look at the sessions, guys, even if it's not in the direction of my trade. If it's close to it, this is where I see a lot of manipulation, right? It doesn't matter if it's like in the direction of your trade or against it. I just don't trade anywhere near it. So I don't trade anywhere near sessions. I don't trade anywhere near news price, opening price, etc. Also, there's news price right here too. So there's a news event happening right now, 7:30, natural gas storage. Yeah, natural gas storage right there. News was positive. Price is reacting to news. Thanks, Peter, for confirming that. Once this candle closes, I'll mark up news price and we'll just have another area to avoid right here. Basically another red flag area. So that was news price right there. All right, so we got another area to avoid. Kwaku said, done for the day. Great work, guys. Thanks, Sean. Definitely, Kwaku. And that's a good thing right there, right? Having discipline to stop trading for the day. So for me, I stopped trading at 8 o'clock. Typically 8 o'clock is where I start to see the market move kind of funny. Reason for that is because it's around lunchtime Eastern. So like 8 o'clock, 9, 10, 11, people are starting to get ready for lunch. They probably go around to lunch around like 11:30, 12. And that's when you see volatility kind of die down a bit and the market just stops moving. And then it picks up again a few hours later, typically for the mid-market reversal. So just keep that in mind. See if there's anything else here. So some more profits over here by you guys. Let me scroll up real quick. So here's Rashida. Rashida locked in a total profit of 735. Nice work, Rashida. Tiana over here currently up 3,001. Nice work, Tiana. We got Nelly over here locked in a total profit of 2,785. Looks like you moved your stop loss in profit. Good move right there. Kwaku over here locked in a total of 32. Not bad. Nice, nice. So Kwaku said, growing the small 2K account, hit my 1.5% goal for today. So this is key right here, guys. It doesn't matter if you have a big account, small account, huge account, micro account, right? The key thing right here is that you're basing your trades off a percentage goal, right? So right here, Kwaku, even though he has a smaller account, he's still hitting 1.5%, right? That's pretty much what I hit too. So I have a 200K account and I locked in 1,000 today. So 1,000 divided by, 200K. I locked in like half a percentage, which is fine, right? If I locked in 2, that would have been a 1% gain. So that's one thing that you guys want to keep in mind. Don't look at the profit number, look at the percentage. If you're making at least 1% a day or close to it, and that's a win, because a lot of people don't make 1% overall, in a month or so, and consistently. So if you guys can do that consistently, making a percentage or more a day, you're going to be on the high end. And if you guys can continue doing that, once you get a bigger account, it's just going to continue to expand and multiply from there. So Dell over here as well, walking a total profit of 100. Nice work, Dell. And Scotty over here as well, locking a total profit of 940. Great work, Scotty. Janae over here, locked in a total profit of 178. Great work, Janae. Nice, yeah. So Janae said my profits for the day, going to try to make 150 more. Yeah, no, definitely. Just be careful with your entries. Make sure you're looking for quality entries only. Dimitri over here, locked in a total profit of 1,202. Man, that was pretty serious analyzing the chart in this picture, but nice profit right there. Dimitri, total profit of 1,202. See Barack over here as well. Barack's doing well. Happy to be going good on your side. Thank God. Nice work, Barack. So Barack over here for his daily summary, he's currently on a winning streak. This is what I try to preach to you guys every day, right? If you guys can stay consistent. So the great consistency right here, Barack. He's basically been taking the breakout. He's locked in $500 every day. So if you guys can do this consistently every day, if you do the math, guys, it's very simple. He's locking in 500 times 5. It's about 2,500 a week times 4. That's about 10,000 a month times 12 months in the year. You're making about 120,000. So if you can stay consistent and just lock in 500 a day, that's a pretty good amount, pretty good amount of profit to make consistently annually. And then once you have a bigger account, you can start making more. Like for example, for me, I'm doing like my goal is like 1,000 a day times 5, 5,000 a week times 4, 20,000 a month times 12, 240,000 a year, right? It's all about looking at the long-term goal here. So I'll take a look at your messages later, Brock, but great work with your consistency there every day. Maddie over here as well, locking a total profit of 1,282. Nice work, Maddie. And I think that's it for right now. Kevin over here as well, currently up 10,591 off this account. Nice work, Kevin. All right, guys, solid. So there's no entries here to take at the moment, guys. I'm still watching it to see if there's anything that could come up, but I haven't seen anything myself just yet. So let me scroll up real quick. Tody's asking, Sean, if there is any variations, would you take the trade? Fundamentals are still 200 points in the green. So not yet, Tody. We haven't had a shift yet to the downside, as I mentioned. I mean, there's a shift to the downside, but it's not a strong confirmation yet, right? It's currently 58% long. Looking over here at the overalls. So the overall bias, in order for me to have like a solid overall bias, I want retail sentiment to be at least 60 to 65% or more in one direction. Also fundamental bias, I want it to be down as well. So right now it's a mix, right? Retail sentiment is a sell, but it's not very strong. Fundamental bias right now is bullish, and the technicals right here are indecisive. You can see it's blue right here on the trend meter. So there really isn't much of a direction. Price can really go either way. So for me personally, I'm not necessarily looking for anything specific. If I see something good, then maybe I'll take it. Like if I see a variation for a sell and it looks like a really good variation, like there's no red flags here, meaning opening price, sessions, news price, etc. Right? If you don't have any red flags there and it looks like a good sell, like it looks like price is going to come back down, then yeah, great, I'll take it. But for right now, there's just too many things here in the way, right? For one, there's no overall bias. Well, I mean, it's a light bias, but it's not very strong. Second, price is at opening price. Third, sessions is right here. Fourth, news price is right there. So there's just a lot of red flags here where you don't want to enter trades. It's like I was mentioning before, you got to be very selective about what you decide to take, because this can easily just shift either way in reverse on you at any moment. So that's why I'm being very careful with these entries at the moment. But I haven't seen anything here so far. Nothing off the 10, nothing off the 15, nothing off the 5, nothing off the 3, nothing off the 1. I just don't see anything over here. All right, so let's see what else I'm looking at over here. All right, cool. So I think that's it for right now. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put your questions in the chat. I'm still looking for trades here, but we don't have anything available at the moment. Price looks like it's now ranging again. So it's the same phase that I show you guys, or that I've been showing you guys. So let me just use this clean chart right here to show you guys the movement. So market opened right here at 6:30. Right? We had a somewhat bullish push right here. Price started to range. Price dropped back below here. Went into a range. Price pushed back up. And what do you think price is doing now? Ranging, right? So as price ranges right here, what happens after that? It's going to have some sort of breakout to the upside or to the downside, right? So this is fine because this is what we're looking for. We want price to range around this area, using the high lows. We want price to range around here so that we can catch it, come back down, right? So this range is completely fine. We'll let it range, and then when it breaks out, we can be ready for that direction, which I'm assuming will probably be to the downside, but we don't want to assume, we want to know, right? So we got to wait for that confirmation. So there we go. Price is ranging right here. And what we're basically waiting for is for price to break out to the upside or break out to the downside. The only problem is that even if it breaks out to the downside, though, is that we're going to hit sessions right here, news price. And then again, down here, same thing, sessions, news price. But then down here, jackpot, jackpot liquidity. Because when it hits this point, it's probably going to drop even further. But all right, let's see where price goes. I don't want a sell signal, though. That's one thing that I don't want. I don't want a sell signal to come up because I still want that pending sell in case we get a variation moving forward. The 10-minute here is still technically running. I'm not in this position, but as I mentioned, we're using that as a guideline to identify where we expect price to go. All right, price established the low right there, established the high right there. Now we're just waiting for that confirmation. Gosh, yeah, Mauricio said oil is bullish. Take a look at that too. Yeah, I'll probably play around with this at some point. I haven't yet, but it looks like, depending on what strategy that you guys want to apply on here, a lot of them still work perfectly fine. Like if you're trading oil on the 15 here, applying the same strategy that I apply on US30, a high low, there would have been a really nice entry right here. So off this candle right here, I'm not sure if you were looking at this, Mauricio, but the same high-low strategy I use on 15 on US30, price broke this high right here, it closed above it, could have taken that for I don't know how much. I know there's a sessions right there, but if we were to just ignore that, I don't typically use the sessions on the higher time frames, but it went straight to TP. I'm not sure what the sweet spot is, but it looks pretty solid whenever it does hit. So again, right here, same thing. There was another entry right here, same exact strategy, it's high-low strategy with this candle right here, right? So this candle right here, same thing, price broke that high, we had a bullish signal, trend meter was green. Take that for a long position right there. Let that run. Bounces around a bit, but eventually does hit its TP right there. So, I mean, it's pretty nice how it works. I just don't know what the range would be. I have to play around with it to figure out what the TP stop loss would be, because I like using a fixed TP stop loss for these specific strategies. But it looks good. I mean, maybe something I could play around with eventually. I'm always up to make more money trading, guys. If I could find something good, and these strategies work on pretty much everything. So if I find something good, then I'll apply it. I applied the same strategy for UJ last night, right? So UJ, I marked it up. I took the same strategy right here, the rejection, right there, that wick rejection. And I'm still looking at it right here. So I took that wick rejection off it, the same strategy I use on US30, I use it on UJ, and I made 282. This is my personal account for forex.com. Which is not bad. I've been taking like just trades like randomly whenever I see them. I started this account with I think like 8,000. It's now at 10,810. So it's growing pretty nicely. And these are kind of just testing. I don't even like, I don't really have anything specific that I'm applying. It's just whenever I see an entry that I apply on US30 over to like certain FX pairs, I just take them. I like to like, I know a lot of people like to play on like demo accounts. I like playing on like a live account because this will help me build my trade psychology when I, plan on trading this on there. I guess, wait, what's going on? Oh, screen froze. Okay, sorry, my screen froze for a second. But yeah, just showing you guys that like I test these strategies on other assets too. I don't just use it on US30. I use it on UJ. Typically like directional assets. Like Forex is usually a ranging asset, but I play around with it on other assets and it does fine. So for me, I don't use demo accounts. I just use I use live accounts, but I use them with a smaller account size, obviously. Because it helps with your trade psychology. I feel like a lot of people, they'll do really well on a demo account, but then when you go to a live account, you do complete opposite, right? And that's because you haven't really developed your trade psychology to trade on a live account. So if you want to like build your trade psychology, I recommend always trading on a live account, even if it's pennies. Like if you trade a smaller account, great. I just use a smaller lot size, and that will help you build your trade psychology. So you don't really care as much when you're taking the trade. The problem with a lot of people is that they're using demo accounts, so they don't care when they're trading demo, but when they go on a live account, they start to freak out because they can't handle the risk. And it's normal. It's how it is for everybody. All right, price is still within this range. It hasn't really done anything. Kind of broke out right here, but it was a fake out. The range just got wider. So it's just a really big range right here. It's getting close to 8 o'clock. So I think price is just going to consolidate for a bit. It's created a wider range here, but it's really just going sideways until probably like 10 or 9 o'clock. Actually, we have news coming up later too with the Fed. So that's something that you guys want to take into consideration. We have news over here. 10 o'clock, Fed member Bullard speaking, and then right after that, Fed member Waller. So I think price will just range until then. And then once it hits, 9 or 10, it's going to start moving pretty heavily. Or maybe it'll keep pushing up. Who knows? We'll have to see. See, Akil said gonna call it a day. See you tomorrow. Yeah, definitely, Akil. We'll see you tomorrow. Market's pretty dead anyway, so there's not really much for us to take at the moment. Charles said, glad I caught the move in the beginning. Looks like I'm done. Yeah, no, same here, Charles. I'm glad I took that sell earlier because there hasn't been anything come up since then. Market's pretty much just been bouncing back and forth. So as you guys can see, this is where price currently is. This blue line is opening price. So market opened right here at 630. Price kind of faked out to the upside, faked out to the downside. It basically lured people in both directions. So it pushed up. It pretty much stacked up some buyers. Whoever took the buys here got stopped out when price came below here. Whoever chased the sells right here got stopped out because price pushed right back up. So if you took the buys here, it's like almost 2,000 pip drop. Most likely whoever took the buys at that point got stopped out. Whoever chased the sells right here, same situation. Price pushed up from this point up to here over 1,000 pips. So unless you have a really, really big stop loss, you're probably going to get stopped out. So you want to be very careful about taking trades that don't have a strong bias. Like today, we didn't have a strong bias, so we couldn't really anticipate the overall direction. And whoever is like FOMOing to these trades are basically paying a price because they're getting caught on the wrong side of the market. It sucks, but I mean, that's the discipline that's required to sit out of market conditions like this. So let me just scroll up real quick. One question from PC. PC's asking, let me scroll up real quick, see if I missed anything else. All right, I didn't. So PC said this question got missed. I tried trading gold using the 1 hour strategy combined with 70% sentiment, but had more failures. Has that been your experience too in testing? So I haven't traded gold, PC. Gold is like one thing that you guys have to understand is that some assets, they move a lot differently. Like gold is very sensitive to news, right? Because gold is a safe haven currency. So price could be going in your direction, but if you have news that's causing, let me just pull up gold. I'll show you right here. So here's gold. You've been trading it on the 1 hour. You said sentiment was 70%. Let me just pull it up over here. Like there's certain assets that I don't like to trade because a lot of them are highly manipulated. Gold is one of them because it's a safe haven currency. So if the US economy is not doing good or the world economy is not doing good, people typically put their money into gold, right? So when they put their money into gold, they think that, okay, price is like automatically going to go in that direction. So right here, gold's 80% bullish, right? People are buying gold because they think this is like the place to park their money. So I'm trying to see where did you have the issues, PC. So I'm looking over here because when I'm looking at it right here, it looks like everything would have actually won. So you said you're applying the 1 hour strategy, which is the intraday strategy. It was 70%, or right now it's 80% bullish, right? So what do you do when it's 80% bullish? You sell. I'm looking at all the sells right here. They all would have hit. So I'm not sure which one did you take that loss, but the strategy actually worked perfectly fine here. So there's a sell right there, full TP, another sell right here, full TP, another sell right there. I mean, they all look like they won actually. So 3 back-to-back trades here. This is all the way until July 3rd, June 22nd, full TP. I mean, they all won here. PC, which one did you take that loss? I'm trying to get an understanding as to like which one was it. Yeah, like literally every trade here won, it looks like. Looks like there was one loss right here, but there was news. So one thing that you guys want to keep in mind is that there's news coming up. Like I mentioned earlier, gold is like one of the assets that's like highly sensitive to news. When there's gold that when there's news that's coming up, like say 1 or 2 candles away, I would just avoid it because you can see the reversal right here. So price did come down as soon as news hit right here. See how the news is right here at 7 o'clock? It did a complete reversal because it's highly sensitive to news. Same with this right here. Like, even though this would have won, I would have skipped it. This one would have been okay because news happened on the candle after it closed. This one's okay because there's no news before it. This one's fine, no news. This one's fine, no news. This is fine, no news. So all of these that you would have taken if you avoided news, they all would have hit full TP. So let's see. PC said this was various times since you introduced us to the strategy. Last took it a couple days back. So I went back at least 10 days now. There wasn't any losses here. So I'm trying to figure out which one you took that loss. I don't know if it was this one right here, maybe, but this was like on news too. There's news right there. Yeah, if you know which one you took, PC, I mean, you could let me know, but I've looked back, like this is almost a month back now. This one, there was news. So you just want to keep track of like news, right? If the news is happening around those times, because that's where you want to avoid them. But if there's no news, you can, yeah, Sanjeev, I saw your message. Just, I'm getting to it. Just give me a second. So I need to finish answering PC's question here before I get to yours, because he asked it before you. So yeah, let me know, PC, which one you took, because I wouldn't mind taking a look at it. Whenever I backtest a strategy, I like looking for losses actually. Like I like looking for losses more than wins because the losses is what helps me understand what needs to be done differently, right? So whenever I backtest a strategy, yeah, sure, you're going to see a lot of wins, but I specifically look for losses because then I can figure out what caused that loss. Like for example, here, we did see a loss somewhere over here. And the reason I could tie that to a loss was because there was news at that same very time, right? So like, for example, right here, this reversed, or where did it reverse at? I can't remember where that trade came. Let's see. Yeah, so like right here, we had like a bunch of wins, right? So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. wins. And then we had a loss right here. The reason why I knew there was a loss is because there's a check, well, not really a checklist, but like from my own experience, I can look back to see what could have caused that loss. And then in the future, I'm like, okay, if there's news, then I'm just going to avoid the trade. Like right here, what was it? And I can't even find that loss anymore. Right? It's oh, it's right here. Okay, so I already marked it up. So right here, I already knew this was based off the news because we had news price right there, high impact news, and there was a trade right there. So yeah, PC, if you see anything, just let me know, and that'll be beneficial for both of us because then we can figure out what's causing the issue. Most of the time, it's usually news. That's why I don't trade news at all because news will tend to manipulate price, whether it be US30, gold, anything that you really want to trade particularly. There's always going to be a reason, like right, like it's like that one saying, like to every action is a reaction, right? So like, for example, the action is news. What's the reaction to the news? Does price go with it? Does price go against it? There's always going to be something for you to look at to help better your strategy. Anyways, back to the 1 minute over here real quick. Yeah, Charles said there was a V1 right here. Not a V1 that I would take because obviously the bias right now is not very strong for a sell. But yeah, there was a double wick right there. Double wick and double body. Looks like for a V1. But not taking it because I need that bias. Yeah, it already hit. Yeah, Maddie said probably gonna hit. It's at 15 minute supply, but no bias. So he's out for the day. Yeah, I'm out for the day too. So let me just finish answering these questions right here to show you guys whatever you guys need help with. So Sanjeev, sorry that I took so long to get to your question. Let me just scroll over here real quick. Okay, so Sanjeev said, hello, bro. You didn't take the breakout strategy today. You said the candle was too big. Just want to know how many pips is too big for a candle and when I need to wait for retracement and when I shouldn't, I should take them. Yeah, sure. So let's take a look at that breakout today. So let me just go over here real quick on the clean chart. So the breakout was this green candle right here, right? So in order for you to determine if the candle is too big or not, you just measure the candle, right? So this candle right here was about 360 pips, right? 36 points. What you'll do is you'll take an average of like what the other candles are. So what you do is you'll just basically, I know you don't have time to measure this when it's happening real time, but you can just see by looking at the other candles. So go back to the next candle right here, right? The one before it. Is this normal to you? It's not, right? It's a lot bigger. So this range right here is the size of this candle. The candle prior to it, it eats it all up. It's like way bigger. It's like double the size. Look at the previous candles over here. You basically go back like 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, and you see how big is this candle compared to every other candle. So this candle right here is huge compared to this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, etc. It covers like let's see when's the last time a candle this big came up. I don't see any candles here that were this big anytime recently. So this is how you can anticipate if the candle is too big, right? You just go back and and this is something you can practice. Obviously, when you're doing it real time, you don't have time to think. That's why I can just see it with like my naked eye because I do this so often every morning. But basically, you can go back and you can see how long has it been since a candle this size has come up. And let's see. This looks like this red one might be close to it. Let me scroll up a little bit. Not even that red candle. So this red candle is not even close to it. So the last time a candle this big happened was right here, if not bigger, right? So the last time you had a candle that size, it was over 4 hours and 32 minutes ago. So that's how you can determine if the candle is too big. You could just measure it. Like if you want to measure it, you can measure it and then you can kind of just match it. But for me, I don't need to measure it because I can just look at it and say, okay, this candle is way too big compared to these. So whenever a candle like that's too big, typically it's a manipulated candle, right? Because if everything here is moving small and all of a sudden you get this huge candle, you don't want to take a trade like that because typically price will retrace either half of the candle or the full candle. So it'll retrace to there or somewhere like like halfway, right? So when something like this happens, this is where I don't enter right away. I wait for it to retrace right here as it retraces. Sometimes it'll retrace the full candle. Sometimes it'll retrace half the candle. Sometimes it'll go right past it, right? Like it did right here, but then it comes back up. So typically when you measure the candle and you see how far is it, that's how you would anticipate, if it's gonna either reverse or retrace on you. So does that make sense? Sanjeev, if you need me to cover it again, or if you need another example, just let me know. But I know it's confusing at first because you're not used to seeing it. But if you go back and review other breakouts, just go back and measure them. That's going to be the easiest way. Yeah, no problem, Sanjeev. Hopefully that cleared it up. I know it's a bit confusing, but over time, when you start applying the breakout every day, you're going to see, okay, this candle is way too big compared to the others. And you probably want to avoid it or you want to wait for it to retrace before entering. But all right, guys, it's 8:01 right now, so it's past my trading time. I typically stop trading around 8. I think from 8 until 9 or maybe even until 10, price is going to just go sideways for a bit. And then eventually it'll choose its direction. But I think for right now, it's not really going to do too much. So a couple more profits here. Nelly said, took a couple losses on this account, FOMO and trying out a strategy. That's fine, Nelly, as long as you understand your risk and you're not over leveraging. You're never going to learn unless you take the risk and you take the losses. So don't take, if you guys ever take a loss, just use that as a learning experience, right? Review the trade, see what you did wrong, see what could have been done differently, and then avoid making that mistake in the future. So it's all good, Nelly. Al over here as well posted his profits, locking a total of 3,050 for the day. So nice work, Al. And no problem, PC. Glad I could help you with that too. Patrick over here as well, currently up 1,806 for that trade earlier today. So Patrick said only one trade today, but profit is profit. And that's key, right? Closing the day in profit is the key move here. So, all right, guys, I think that's it for now. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to message me on Telegram or email me. Otherwise, we'll be back here tomorrow to close out the trading week, same time, same place. Hopefully tomorrow is going to be a bit smoother. I don't think it will because it is NFP, but we'll try to take the market as it comes to us. So hopefully we can maybe sneak in maybe 1 or 2 trades tomorrow. But if not, it wouldn't matter. I'll still be here to analyze the charts, give you guys explanations, and try to guide you guys as much as possible through the rocky market tomorrow. Just expect tomorrow to be crazy. It's NFP, so no surprise. But other than that, guys, have a great rest of your morning. And if you guys don't need to trade, I recommend just probably sitting it out because the Fed is going to be speaking later today at 10. So in about 2 hours, the Fed is going to be speaking. You're going to see probably some crazy movement in the market. So